Welcome back to Just Jazzmen Black podcast. If you are a returning listener, welcome home. If you are new here, welcome to the family. Make sure you write your name on the board. And what do I mean by the board? That means the comment section. That means the Instagram. That means anywhere. Comment on the YouTube channel. Let me know that you were here. I want to see you. I want to see what you have to say. I want you to comment on your favorite part of this episode. Today, we are getting into fulfillment. Fulfillment has been a struggle for me. It has truly been a struggle for me. And as I talk to some of my friends and as I talk to other people, it seems like it's been a struggle for a lot of people. So today we are going to go through fulfillment, the different types of fulfillment, and how do we get to a place of feeling fulfilled. Let's get into it, y'all. So sometimes when I'm feeling like I'm confused about something and I really can't get the answer, I'll start to do some research on it so I can see what has research said about it, what have other people said about it, and just compare, right? So what I came across was that there's a total difference between external and internal fulfillment. External fulfillment is most times the things that people tie to success outside of ourselves. Money, wealth, recognition. It's the things that society tend to use as markers of success. Internal fulfillment is more so things that are linked to inside ourselves, feeling more connected, feeling emotionally stable, living authentically, things that make us feel good, a way that makes us feel good, feeling good about ourselves in general. That's more internal. Internal fulfillment can be something that makes you feel good, makes you feel like your life has meaning or whatever you're doing has meaning. And most of the time with internal fulfillment, you could care less what recognition you get or what materials you may get from it because it makes you feel good. So we have internal fulfillment and then we have external fulfillment. And honestly, I struggle with both of those. I want the things that make me feel internally fulfilled to bring me the external fulfillment. So for example, there's a lot of us out there starting businesses and we're passionate about the business, but we're ready for the business to bring us that house. We're ready for the business to bring us that car. We're ready for the business to bring us a certain amount of money because that is what's going to make us feel completely fulfilled. I would love to feel, this is funny how many times we're going to say feel and fulfilled this episode, but I would love to feel fulfilled internally and externally. But sometimes we can't have both at the same time. And sometimes for some people, you may not get both. It may be one or the other, because I know plenty of people who have a lot of external fulfillment and no internal. And then I know people who have a lot of internal and they have no external. And this can be challenging for us. And it can lead us to be in a cycle of unsatisfaction. And I can raise my hand and admit that I've found myself in that cycle. And there's times that I've found myself having both. And I really think we just solved the puzzle with this episode, because I think that is the real rat race. And people say the rat race is normally like working a job, going to sleep, getting up. That's one. But the chase for fulfillment is another race in itself. And this is what a lot of people are stuck in. This is why people will find themselves going to school over and over. This is why people will find themselves picking up projects, putting them down, picking up projects and putting them down, because we're looking for something that brings us fulfillment internally, externally, or both at the same time. So let's do an exercise. Let's write on a piece of paper, when do we feel the most fulfilled internally? And what do we want? And what do we want those feelings to bring us externally? Fulfillment comes in times when we're doing things that make us feel good. Our hobbies, volunteering, helping a friend, starting a business from the heart. A lot of times we will find ourselves feeling unfulfilled because we're chasing what society says we should be, what family says we should be, what our husbands, our wives, our kids. And we're trying to fulfill so many roles, and we're trying to make other people happy. And sometimes when we fail in those roles, it can lead to us questioning what is our true purpose. Because if my kids is telling me I'm not being a good mother, if my husband is telling me I'm not a good wife, and society says those two things I should be, and I do not feel completely fulfilled only doing those things, what is my purpose? I can see how that can be so confusing, especially for a woman. I can see how that can be so confusing. I truly believe that everyone comes to this world with a unique purpose. And it's very sad to be put here and under this authority of society that can sometimes run our mind and run our thought process. And we have to free ourselves from that and understand that society is not in charge here. You are. You are in charge of your life. You are in charge of what you want to do. And anyone who comes into your life, if they truly love you and care about you, they should respect and understand and care about the things that makes you feel good, that makes you feel good about being alive, that makes you feel like you have a purpose here. Because without you feeling like you have a purpose, it can be really hard on your mental. So if a person truly cares about you, they would care about what drives you, what keeps you going every day, what makes you look forward. Because if you can't do those things, how can you be what they need you to be for them? If a person doesn't care about what makes you want to wake up in the morning, how can you do the job that they want you to do if you can barely do it for yourself? I'm starting to learn that fulfillment is not just about the end goal. It's not about obtaining that house. It's not about obtaining $1 million. It's not about that. I feel very fulfilled knowing that I'm giving every day my best. I feel very fulfilled when I was getting up, getting ready to shoot this podcast. I felt so fulfilled that I actually put the effort to do this morning. Putting up the camera, putting up the lights, plugging in things, doing my hair, doing my makeup. I said, wow, girl, you're getting busy. Wow, you're doing something you truly love. I felt fulfilled in that moment. Even though we're not making $1 million yet, we're not millionaires yet, I still feel fulfilled even in the process of getting there. And you can feel that too. If you just enjoy what you're doing and take the steps to get to where you want to be, you will be so proud of yourself every day because you took those steps. An unfulfilled life will be a person upset with themselves because they're not taking those steps. I've been there too. There's been days that it's been hard for me to get out the bed and I did not feel fulfilled those days. But this morning I felt very fulfilled getting ready to get on this podcast and come talk to you guys. It's fulfilling talking about fulfillment right now. This is because I feel like I'm doing something, I'm talking about something that everybody has on their mind. How do I feel better? How do I feel fulfilled? And honestly, for me personally, I don't think I'll ever feel like I'll come to this kingdom come of fulfillment. I think I'm always going to have a new task and I'm going to tell myself, I got to get it to a certain point before I feel good about it. I think I'm always going to have a task. I think I'm always going to be on that race of fulfillment. But one thing I could tell you I'm going to do differently. I'm going to enjoy the race. I'm going to enjoy getting to my goal of buying a home and what type of home. I'm going to enjoy this process of building this podcast. I'm going to enjoy the process of chasing my fulfillment, overcoming the roadblocks to fulfillment. I believe that in order to overcome the roadblocks, you're going to have to adapt a I don't give a F attitude today. That means you don't care what you look like. You don't care what it takes. You don't care what people have to say. You don't care what society says, family says. And girl and man, you can't care what your spouse say. And I know that could be a tough one for some people. But my belief is that everyone comes here with a purpose. When you join forces with someone, your purpose should not become harder to obtain. Your happiness, your fulfillment, your whatever you want to do in your life are the plans you had before you got with that person, because you had a plan for your life before you even got here. So to get into the world, to have this mission, right? And then to meet another person who also has a mission, and then you guys stifle each other's mission, that is not going to lead to a happy relationship, friendship, anything. I truly believe in my heart that two people should get together and make their purposes happen. And you're not going to feel fulfilled if you get with a person who's trying to limit that because they're putting their societal beliefs on you. Example, no shade to the men, but men who get with women and then try to rip their purposes away because you've adapted some type of societal mindset and now you want to place that on her. This soul, this person that you met who knew who they were probably before they got with you, or maybe they didn't. But once they start having these feelings of unhappiness, unfulfillment, that's signs that they're not being able to do what they were sent here to do. And once you start seeing those signs in your wife or in your husband, you need to figure out what it is they want to do because you came into their life. You don't want to stifle that because it's not going to lead to a happy person. They can't be a happy mother or father, and then they're not going to be a happy spouse. So that's just one example. Nobody should stifle anybody's purpose on this earth. And I think that is one of the key things that we go through here. Imagine a world where people was okay with people figuring out who they want to be, what their purpose is, and allowing them to be that. Imagine a world like that. Imagine a world like that. And then those people attracted people who like their mission, who like their purpose, who aligned with their purpose. It would be so many natural relationships. It would be magic happening all over the world. But instead, we have adapted what society tells us what we should do by our gender, by our age, by our race, by so many different things. And there's people that challenge that debunk that with their lives. Oprah, for example. I'm an Oprah stan, y'all. Oprah is a great example. She's a Black woman. She, wasn't always considered attractive by society standards during different time periods. She's not married. She doesn't have children. And look at her. She's a billionaire. She went against everything that society told her she should be and how she should look and how she should live her life. There's plenty of successful people who went against the norms and they have been able to be who they were supposed to be and complete their purpose and walk in their purpose and have success externally and internally. Gratitude is going to play a big part in your chase for external and internal fulfillment. If you wake up every day, just one, being grateful that you have the chance to race in this race another day, that's one. You have to be grateful that you even have a chance to live, to have something to even be worried about fulfilling. That's one. Two, wherever you are in your life, rather you're in poverty, rather you're paycheck to paycheck, rather you're comfortable, but tomorrow doesn't really look for sure. Where you are, you can still have inner fulfillment. I'm not rich, and I am fulfilled waking up every day, doing things that makes me fulfilled, that I know is going to bring me those external fulfillments. If I'm consistent with doing the things that makes me feel fulfilled internally, I 1000% the external fulfillments will come. The money, the cars, the recognition, and some of those things I truly don't even care about. Now, the money would be nice, okay? I care about money. But the recognition, if I don't get the house of my dreams, just buying a beautiful home, a nice home, a great home would be great. But gratitude is going to play a big role. Being grateful for waking up and finding something that makes you feel good and being grateful that you can do that, it's going to bring the external. Start where you are with what you have. If it's content that you want to make, prop that cell phone up, clean that camera off, buy you one of the cheapest selfie lights from Walmart, make you a small corner in your bedroom, in your apartment, wherever that is, prop it up, do it. I've seen some of the most blurriest, fuzziest videos go viral We are in the most authentic time period that I've ever seen where being authentic is allowed. Now, if you have all the professional equipment, that's great. But the people without it, you don't have to have it. Authenticity. Authenticity. I mess that word up all the time. Authenticity is the highest form of vibration. It's the highest form of vibration. It's going to be the reason that people love you. And there's more people who are looking for that than there is people that's looking for like superficial stuff. And there's more people who can align with, at their core, people can align with authenticity. And they're, no matter if they say it or not, they're happy that they can, watch some superficial stuff on YouTube and then go to a channel where it resonates with their core. Although their goal may be the superficial stuff or the stuff that is, this is what I'm basically trying to say. Although a girl may watch a really grand TV show where the women are rich and they have everything externally, it always feels good to flip that switch and be able to talk to somebody who resonates with their core, although their goal may look different. So authenticity is the highest form of vibration. And people like to see you glow up. I love it. I love documentaries. I love seeing somebody go from point A to point B. My favorite documentary, he's not the world's favorite, but Kanye West. His documentary was amazing. He manifested his life. And no matter what he had, how much he had, how many no's he got, he was consistent and he felt fulfilled. I could tell, I'm watching the documentary, he had a smile on his face. No matter if he brought in a concert with 100 people or 100,000, he was fulfilled in what he was doing. And it brought him everything that he may have dreamed of externally. So here is a few action steps that you can take that can help you with the race for fulfillment. Self-reflection. Reflect on what makes you feel good internally and what do you want to achieve externally. Set meaningful goals. Why do you want that house? Why do you want that car? Why do you want that amount of money? Why do you want to do this? Who will it benefit? Set meaningful goals, because when things have meaning, they give reason to do. This podcast is important to me, and I know it's important for you to hear these things because someone did it for me and I needed it at one point. And I know there's someone out there right now who's struggling with fulfillment and they're confused on, what am I feeling right now? Is it because I don't have the car? Is it because I'm not in my dream job? Is it because I'm not walking in my purpose? It's both. Practice mindfulness. Stay present and stay engaged in your everyday life. Meditate in the morning. Sort out your thoughts. For example, the other morning, I sorted out my thoughts and I said, this is what we're going to do the first half of the morning. We're going to organize our personal stuff. We're going to organize our bills. We're going to knock that stuff that I dread doing out the way first. Because I don't want to go through the day excited to do content and record the podcast just to dread the ending of it because I know I got to face that pile of bills or the organization of my life. So I like to tackle the dreadful hard thing first and get that dread out, because now I have this excitement of rushing to the good part, right? So I did the organization of the bills, did all the boring stuff. And then I had this excitement of, okay, it's time to do the recording. It's time to do the podcast. That's such a good way to go into the rest of your day. Now, some people say the opposite. Some people say don't tackle don't tackle the dreadful thing first thing in the morning. But I do. I like to tackle that first because now I look forward to the rest of the day, because the rest of the day is the things that I want to do. So the first half of the morning was me, organizing the bills and doing the hard stuff. Then it was the fun stuff, and then I went to the gym, which I still consider fun because now the gym is the place where I just release. I release tension. I release fear. I release rejection. I release imposter syndrome. I release everything at the gym. And I also feel good when I go to the gym because we got both out the way. We got the dreadful stuff out the way. We got the fun stuff out the way. And now this is my way of like ending my night. Build a supportive community. I'm an introvert. So this is for other people. I like to be by myself and figure things out. My supportive community is myself, but I understand why people would need a community because I'm kind of sure of myself. I'm kind of sure of if I stay consistent, what I can achieve. But I believe that there's people out there who need friends, who need family, who needs inspiration, who need their supporters to say, hey, I see you. You're doing good. Keep going. This is important what you're doing. This makes sense. I understand there's people out there like that. I think the difference for me is maybe I've already got enough of that throughout life. I got enough of you're special, you're important, you're great. Oh my God, I can see you being successful. I just didn't believe it myself sometimes. I didn't believe it myself. So not everyone probably can relate to the whole build a community. I know my introverts out there, my confident introverts. I'm a confident introvert. I'm one of the people that say, if you guys just leave me alone, I could like make $1 million for this family. Like I'm one of those people. But you know, for the people who need the support and need the reassurance, building a support system is important for you. And I want to be a part of your support system. I want to tell you that if you're listening to this podcast, I know if you listened all the way to the end right now, I know that you are serious. You are really looking for a way to feel fulfilled. And this is a part of your journey. You're doing the right thing. You're on track. You're on track. You're just confusing external with internal. Because you haven't got the external things, you feel confused on what you're feeling internally is right or not. If it makes you feel good, if it feels like you're doing the right thing, you are on the right track. Now, that does not mean that we're doing the things that make us feel good correct. We want to do every single thing by ourselves. We don't want any help and we don't want any type of criticism or advice because we feel like our vision is correct. Sometimes that's not right. Sometimes we do need the help. Sometimes we can take the advice and it'll help us. But yes, you were given a vision. Yes, God gave you a vision. Yes, the higher power. Yes, you were put here. Yes, you were put here with a purpose and a vision. And yes, you were put here with those things, but sometimes we can go about those things wrong. So if you're struggling with if you're struggling with something that you're doing that makes you feel good and you're not getting the external things that you want to achieve, maybe reevaluate how you're going about the thing that makes you feel good. You can do the thing that makes you feel good. You can have creative control if you have the vision and you know exactly how you want to execute it. Sometimes it doesn't hurt taking advice or help from someone who wants to help you get to your goal. I learned that lesson. So although I know exactly what makes me feel good, I know exactly what it looks like, it doesn't hurt for me to take some advice on helping me get there or relaying that message to the world or that service to the world. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in controlling our purpose, we kind of lose sight of the fact that especially if you're in a service-based purpose, especially if you have a service-based purpose, sometimes we get so wrapped up in what we want and what we're trying to do that we forget that we're servicing others too, and that we have to convey it a way that they can get it and understand it. And another thing, don't think that the things that make you feel fulfilled don't change. The things that used to make you feel fulfilled in your 20s may not make you feel fulfilled in your 30s, and it may not make you fulfilled in your 40s and 50s. You are allowed to have different tiers of your life and to move however that may be. I believe that your whole entire life is important, and society will tell you, oh, you're not sticking to one thing. Well, you're never supposed to. You're allowed to go through life and you're allowed to change. That's one thing that society doesn't teach. You are allowed to change. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not unorganized. You're not crazy if you have those feelings. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes it can get a little messy. Sometimes we are unorganized, but you are allowed to change. So don't let nobody tell you that you're unorganized or you don't focus on one thing just because you're changing. You're allowed to change. Just with those changes, organize those changes. Gradually go into those changes. Make those changes make sense for your life. But don't let anybody tell you that you're not allowed to change your mind or change your career. Sometimes we go into things, we have one mission. Once that mission is complete and the fulfillment goes away, it's time for the next thing. I believe that. I believe that's why humans get feelings. They're antennas, they're signals. So if you no longer feel fulfilled by something, my personal belief is the mission is complete. Whatever you learned, whatever you did, whoever you impact, whatever you did during that cycle is over. It's time for the next phase. Don't let nobody make you feel bad about that. Just make sure that you're going about it to where it doesn't interrupt your life. It doesn't cause a struggle on you. It doesn't cause harm on anyone else. But gradually make the changes if you want to change. So I hope that helped with that. This was an amazing conversation. I hope that what you got from this podcast episode today was that I relate to you. I understand you. I hope that this episode gave someone an aha moment that's going to change their life. The 3 things that I want you to take from this podcast: write down what makes you feel good internally. Write down what do you want to see externally. And the third part, write down how do you get there, even if it includes getting some help and letting go of that tight grip that you have, especially if it's been a long time and you haven't seen what you felt like you should have seen by now, especially if you've been consistent, if you've been doing everything that you consider is right, especially if you've been consistent and you've been doing everything that you consider is right, and you still haven't seen what you want to see from it. I think it's time to just be honest with yourself and say, I may need some help fulfilling this. So that's the 3 things I want you guys to do. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you resonated with this episode, please leave a heart, leave a comment or something, family. I want to see my family. Like, I need to see you guys. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Follow at the Just Jazzmen Black podcast. Links are down below. And until next time, you guys, I see you.